obviously Mr. George Santos, who they need to make a movie about this guy. So you have this special election. Democrats win New York. I think most people expected Democrats to win this seat. What do you think of that? And then also just the House on the GOP side. You mentioned this. You had your succession um, reference, which was perfect. That they're not serious people. When you look at the GOP House, they couldn't find a speaker. You got George Santos. They're clearly going to do whatever Donald Trump says. They're not, with the immigration bill. That probably makes sense. So, do you think that matters? So, I mean, I'm asking you about Santos, but also just because there is dysfunction within the GOP House. Is that one of those minutia type deals? I mean, could that really have an impact on the election? You think?
Absolutely. We spent the first 20 minutes of the show talking about the major warning signs for the Democrats of like how things could go really south for them this year. But there's signs for the Republicans too. And it's not just Trump and his baggage and his legal trouble. The general sense that Republicans are a mess has seeped out into like the broader public, kind of like Biden's age. Like people get it. They see it took you forever to elect the speaker, that then you kicked out that speaker, and then you took what, 4 weeks, 3 weeks trying to elect another one, and you can't pass really anything. They finally did the day before we're recording this on Tuesday night, impeach Mayorkas by 1 vote. But as we said last week, that's not a serious thing. That's essentially a policy disagreement. It's not going anywhere in the Senate. It has no hope that he'll ever be convicted. And they tried to pass an Israel only aid bill. They couldn't pass that. The support is there, as I said before, for this package. We know that it would pass to fund Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. They don't want to bring it to the floor. Why? Because Trump and a lot of the Freedom Caucus members are against it. That special election on Tuesday night, that was a district. If that district had existed in 2020, it was a different district then. Biden would have won it by 8 points. The Democrat won by 8 points. So in that regard, it's not a huge surprise. But George Santos, a Republican, won that election in 2022. That was a Republican seat that flipped to the Democrats. And it shows you the fact that they are not serious people. As I said, the chaos, the stuff we saw in 2022 that cost them a chance to have the red wave, that is still there. And you cannot, if you're Republicans, depend on Biden's low approval rating to carry you through in the House. You can't depend on the mess at the border and immigration to carry you through. You're going to have a tough fight to hold the House. And part of the reason is because people look at it and say, yeah, maybe I don't love Biden. Maybe I don't like what's going on the border. Maybe I think he's too old. But you are a fucking mess and you cannot get it together. And I think that really is a big part of the Republican problem with their brand. They are beholden to their most extreme members. And part of that is just the nature of having a small majority. When you have a tiny majority, the math doesn't work in your favor, and a small group of people can derail your agenda. That's true. But part of it is sometimes you have to stand up to those people and say, look, I'm sorry. We're going to pass things that actually have a chance of becoming law, and we're going to show that we can govern. And Mike Johnson, he has a really tough job, as I said, because of the Freedom Caucus, because of the very narrow majority. So that's a tough job. But he looks like at this point he's in over his head. He doesn't look like he has a strong sense of what he's doing. And that is why the Republican brand is in the shape it is in. And it leads me back to what I said at the beginning. You could make a really strong case why each party is in an enormous amount of trouble in this election. But because you can make a case on each side, that is why this year is so fascinating and why the House, the Senate, the White House are a coin flip, because both of these parties have huge, huge problems.
Love it. Let's end on that.